Bob Richards is here this morning, of course, taking a look at the box office, and we know a couple things that it was a longer weekend, right, because movies came out early for Thanksgiving, and it looks like if this is any indication of the economy, perhaps maybe it's a good sign then, right?
Well, people went to the movies at least. Moviegoers flocked in droves to theaters.
Not just Black Friday.
That's right, over the long holiday weekend. And Hollywood is very thankful. Total box office for the 5-day Thanksgiving weekend was the biggest ever with $290 million. But the weekend's top 3 movies were all holdovers from last week. Breaking Dawn Part 2, Skyfall, and Lincoln were 1, 2, and 3 respectively. Same as last week. Both Breaking Dawn and Skyfall crossed the $200 million mark. Rise of the Guardians was 4th with $24 million. Life of Pi was 5th with $22 million, while Red Dawn was 7th with $14.6 million. Ang Lee's Pi is a movie that you must see in theaters and see it in 3D. It's absolutely spectacular. It's a visual spectacle with incredible jaw-dropping imagery and 3D effects that at times took my breath away. The story is amazing with a twist that will make you think about it for days. This wonderful spiritual film is one that I really couldn't find a flaw with. This movie. This guy is high on Life of Pi, 5 stars out of 5. Mary Elizabeth Winstead's Oscar nomination-worthy performance in Smashed is stunning. Both Winstead and Boise native Aaron Paul make their characters feel very real. Both are terrific, but Paul isn't given a whole lot to do. Winstead is a revelation, turning in a performance that's shocking, soul-bearing, and electric. Unlike most movies with similar addiction themes, it doesn't wallow in melodrama. The ending is somewhat less than satisfying, but it's Winstead's performance that will endure. 4 stars out of 5. Rise of the Guardians has an off-putting visual style. The film does its best to turn children's heroes on their heads. Santa Claus is Eastern European with a thick accent and tattoos. The Sandman is actually made of sand. Yetis make toys, not elves. Elves are just Minion-style comic relief. Much of this film is dark and may not play well with younger children. It's ultimately somewhat heartwarming, even though the tried-and-true Finding Yourself theme is getting a little threadbare. It didn't get much of a rise out of me, 3 stars out of 5. Red Dawn has been sitting on the shelf for 3 years, a victim of MGM's bankruptcy. In those 3 years, the filmmakers decided to change the bad guys from the communist Chinese to the North Koreans. You see, China's a big market for U.S. films, and they didn't want to offend. Changing it renders the whole premise brain dead. I think they should have concentrated more on making a good movie, maybe a different movie. This was an unnecessary remake. The original is one of my favorite action films from the 80s and boasts a cast who would later all become much bigger stars. This version plays like the light TV movie version, not nearly as good. Its main attribute is the obnoxious, copious overuse of the shaky cam, which rendered this movie frustrating and darn near unintelligible. You couldn't tell what the heck was going on, and it started to give me motion sickness. When the camera wasn't shaking, there was silly, laughable melodrama. Toss in bad editing, bad direction, a contrived script, and performances that never feel real, and you've got dead yawn. If you must see it, take a couple of Dramamine first. Better yet, rent the original. 1.5 stars out of 5.